and welcome to part 3 of this very long conversation. I decided to chop it up into several parts. My page seems to do better when they're shorter videos, so that's what I'm going to try to do. Um, a lot of these trans attractive men who are in these groups. I'm sorry. Let's start over. This part of this conversation is in a direct response to my sister's the box number 512 podcast. You guys can check them out on Facebook, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, any place where podcasts are available, Instagram, so on and so forth. You can check their individual Facebook pages, Brianna and the Lioness. Instagram pages. And yeah, they're a wonderful podcast, and I support my sisters wholeheartedly. And this is a response to the conversation they had Friday. I think a lot of these trans amorous men secretly hate women. And that's just something that we all as trans women have to acknowledge, that a lot of these times, a lot of these trans, not all, and not everyone, not even a majority, just enough that I'm saying a lot. A lot of these guys just hate women. And they just don't really view us as women. They view us as the anti-woman. And that's why they are attracted to us. We are, in their minds, the opposite of everything a woman is. So that's why they like us. And that is something that's real within the trans amorous community, that a lot of these dudes, they don't like women, period. And they like us because they just see us as the opposite of a real woman. I also believe a lot of these men who are in these trans amorous and trans attractive groups, or in these trans community groups, really view the trans women as this pornographic image, right? If you ever notice that in these groups, there's a lot of bra and panty challenges, or who look fierce, or who looks most best without makeup on, or who got the real hair, or who titties are the biggest, and who ass is the biggest. And if you ever notice in all of these groups, those type of posts be the most popular posts in those groups. You could post a post about trans women getting free health care. Those posts might get three comments or 3 likes. But if a man posts who got the best bra and panty picture challenge, that post have like 100 likes and comments, right? So that comes from us as the community. Like, why is it that when men are in our space and men choose to participate in these spaces with trying to sexualize trans women, why do a lot of trans women participate in the sexualization of trans women and participate in those behaviors? Why do the trans women choose to pick and choose battles with each other for the attention of men, right? And it goes back to the whole pick me thing. Like, there are a lot of pick me trans women. Let's just be honest with it. There are a lot of pick me ass trans women, and a lot of these guys like these pick me ass girls, right? And a lot of these girls choose to ignore all of the crap that. Let me tell you something. Let's just be honest. This especially Facebook, it's a street. Like, this Facebook is a street, right? It's a street. It's a street. Facebook is a street, y'all. Follow me with this. And a lot of these trans amorous men, a lot of the girls done been with y'all. A lot of y'all done been with the girls. So in these Facebook streets, guess what? You think you're putting up a front, but a lot of people know what's really going on with you, right? And a lot of truth get exposed in these Facebook streets, right? So I think for a lot of these men, with a lot of the girls, right, even though they say they trans, this is why I don't like the term trans attractive or trans amorous, because it's truly not speaking to what we as trans women truly want from men. And if you really think about it, to the men who are watching this, it's not really speaking truly to your attraction to trans women. Being trans amorous, being trans attractive, they're both, to me, saying that you just love to, it's about a trans woman look, right? It's about, I'm attracted to trans women. It's all about your attraction. It's not about I'm seeking to be in a relationship with a trans woman, or I'm just seeking to fuck a trans woman. Like trans amorous, trans attractive, it can mean anything. It's the same thing as DL, it's the same thing as tranny chaser. Like, until the people start making tranny chaser a bad thing, the girls was looking for tranny chasers, right? They would be like, yeah, I want some men, because the girls, in our mind, we wanted some man who was actively looking for a trans woman, which was a tranny chaser. It wasn't until, verbiage and language and definitions changed, got better explained or less better explained, however you want to put it, where the term tranny chaser became a bad thing, just like the term tranny became a bad thing recently. Neither here nor there. I also want to talk about this. I think a lot of the times as trans women, we give trans men too much credit. I wanted to talk about this because that was something else they talk about in their podcast, that a lot of times they don't refer to trans men because a lot of this toxic behavior isn't done by trans men. But I would like to counter that and say that, at least from my personal experience, a lot of trans men are even more toxic than a lot of cis men, because a lot of trans men choose it's going back to the same conversation we just had like 30 minutes ago with Carrie with the T. A lot of trans men, because they are so passive, because they have this privilege, because they date a lot of cisgender women and they don't have the same obstacles that trans women have, they think we're just making up this shit. They think we're just making up that we have to sex work. They think we're just making up that the pool of men that we have available to us is so small that a lot of us choose to date men who are on the DL. Like, they think we're just making up. And again, these could just be the trans men that I know. But I just don't. A lot of trans men choose, when they're in relationships with trans women, choose to try to keep their trans women on the DL because of passability things. Like, a lot of times dating a trans man is almost as bad as dating it. I never dated a trans woman. This is just things that I saw, my personal opinions and thoughts, right? So I could be dead ass wrong. I also think a lot of men think that trans women are somehow wealthy or rich because we take these hormones, we get boobs, we get all these stuff. And a lot of men think that somehow, some way, trans women are rich or are going to take care of them because that's what... It's just like trans women have this long history of being sex workers. Well, if we're going to be honest, a lot of trans women have this long history of being sugar mamas and taking care of men. And that's a lot of the draw that men have to trans women, because we are going to get up and get it, and we're not going to be poor and destitute. So a lot of men try to ride that train when it comes to dealing with trans women. So those are my thoughts and opinions on the box number 512 podcast. I hope my sisters watch this. I hope they don't feel like I was, trying to take away out. If I was able to call into the show, these are the things that I would say. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.